Hello and welcome to this Jane's Weather Update. It is Friday the 22nd of August. The big weather system that was affecting New South Wales and southeast Queensland, the heavy falls from that are now offshore. We do still have a fair bit of flooding concerns that are left over though, and there is still some wet weather on the coast. In the southeast, no more of this stretch of frosty nights and sunny days. Now there is a band of cloud that is moving through. It only has patchy light rain in that. It does have a feed of tropical moisture. It's got a front and another front that's in behind it. But high pressure is too strong. It is in the way because it is out to the southeast. So it is reducing that instability. It's reducing that tropical moisture and it's not able to produce very much. That moves through on Friday into Saturday. Meanwhile, in the southwest, we've got the remains of this last front here, just the top of that clipping there. So it's some very light wet weather. Let's zoom into here and have a closer look at what is happening. So now all of the wet weather has moved away from southeast Queensland. There may be some showers this afternoon. Nothing that's going to add up very much in the rain gauge. Here we do still have this moving just inland here, so across the coast and just inland. But now it's more like 1 or 2 millimetres an hour rather than the heavy falls that we had. That will wind up at the end of today. Major flooding, let's have a look at the legend in through here. So major flooding here, we've got minor flooding in all of the green ones, and anything that is white is still under flood watch for potential flooding that can still occur after this. All right, so that's the current situation. Let's now have a look at what that means on the weather map. We've got high pressure that is out in through here, so the cold front and the cold front, they're just going to slide on across the southeast. This trough is on its last legs. See how it is right on the coast there. Otherwise, we've got the trough that is extending right up in through here, so there's a split in the highs, a gap here. This one out through here, this one all the way back in through there, so we're able to access that tropical moisture. But if you don't have instability, it can't really turn it into anything significant in terms of wet weather. Let's have a look at day by day. So here are our falls today. You'll notice the heavy falls are now off the coast, or right there. It is easing as the day goes on. In the southeast, this is not adding up to very much at all, unless you're in the northwestern parts of Tasmania, as it is sliding through, and then the next cold front comes in. We still have the feed of moisture that is coming in from the northwest, but there's hardly anything there. And the next high pressure system, it is here over South Australia by the end of the day. So that's what we have for Friday. Let's have a look at Saturday. High pressure here by the end of the day. There's hardly anything in the southeastern corner there. This is our next big weather system. So we've got nice moisture that is feeding in from the northwest there. It's not affecting the southwest corner at this stage. More of that to come in the days that follow. And you'll notice this one here, there is this one here, the low pressure system that is just in behind there. It is off the coast, not like that trough that was right on the coast. So the heavy falls go with it, and they're also off the coast. So not much for New South Wales as that next one moves through. There's the end of Saturday. Let's now have a look at Sunday. Again, off the coast, hardly anything. In the southeast, high pressure is in through here and just up in through here. So a big band of high pressure that's there, moving across, meaning we're getting sunshine returning. In the northwest, look at all that moisture that is pouring in, and it's running into low pressure, so heaps for the southwest in through here. It's kind of like two separate systems that are starting to work together there. That is Sunday. Let's roll through. Here we have Monday. We've got our juicy northwest cloud band coming in through there. Low pressure here over the bight, so still feeding that up into the southwest. The cold front is here, Adelaide, by the very end of Monday. Where is the high pressure? It has moved. Look how far north it is. So there's that high, the next one, not down through here in the southern parts of the Tasman Sea, it's up here. That means it is no longer a block. That means that the next weather systems that come into the southeast can actually make it through, so they're not going to be deflected and pushed downwards. Let's watch that in action. So we like our high to be here. There's our next high. There's the one in behind it. It is actually off the map in through there. So we've got a lovely split in the highs. We can access all of that tropical moisture. Let's watch this unfold. So here we have Tuesday coming through. There is the cold front by the end of the day. Tasmania, Victoria, South Australia, all seeing it. Even in the southwest as well, because the next high pressure system is still well off the coast. So it's a huge system as it comes through. There is Tuesday. Here we have Wednesday. You'll notice it comes in, it increases as it goes up the ranges here, and then it rapidly decreases on the dry side of the ranges, which is the east coast. So it's not for East Gippsland either. But all of that coming across the southeast, and we're still seeing it in the southwest because the next high hasn't come in yet. That is Wednesday. Let's now move into Thursday. It just keeps on coming. It starts to ease in the southwest with the next high approaching. And here we have Friday. So it just keeps on coming as it moves through. Now, if you're interested in alpine activities, Tuesday, not great. Wednesday is when the cold air catches up. And after that, it is looking absolutely gorgeous with lots of snow coming through. Let's see what all of that is likely to add up to. So first of all, let's start over here. 25 to 50 millimetres in this northwestern part there. So that's the cloud band, the juicy northwest cloud band as it comes through. If you're in the southwest, 25 to 50, 15 to 25, even with the remains of that band coming in through here, there could be some great falls around Kalgoorlie there. Let's now move into the east. We're clear sailing for southeast Queensland. There's not much happening there over the next week. All of the action is in the southeast. There's not much happening on the east coast of New South Wales. It is time to take a well-earned break. In the southeast, it's affecting the southwestern parts of Victoria up into the northeast. It's the southern parts, the inland parts of New South Wales. Not the north this time, it is the south, and then it dries up as it heads across the ranges. It's the southern parts of South Australia. Lovely falls in the southeast corner there, decreasing a bit as you head inland, but you've got to go all the way to Broken Hill, still 1 to 5 millimetres. In Tasmania, it's that western part, it's the northern part. There's a little bit that is slipping over into the southeast there. So that is some nice falls over the next week. If you're in the southeast, it's not this weekend, it is from Tuesday onwards. Okay, so this is next week. As you would expect, all of the green zone in through here, it is in the southeast. It's a little bit in the southwest as well, but we're taking a break, especially along the east coast here. So this is week 1. This is from Monday, the 25th of August for the next week after that. This is the Euro model. What is the Euro model? The Bureau model. Let's see what the Bureau says here. They have it similar. It's the western parts of New South Wales. Not quite sure where they're heading that far northwards, but it is in through here as well. So it's the southeast that is seeing this. That is next week. Let's have a look now at week 2. So this begins on the 1st of September. Is there a continuation in the southeast? No, there is not. It is next week that we're seeing the majority of that wet weather, and then it dries up once again. Instead, for week 2, starting in the first week of September, that's where we're looking at another Queensland type system and something over in the west. That's what the Euro's got. Let's see what the Bureau has. They also have Queensland, a feed of moisture coming in from the northwest there and possibly into the southwest, and they agree that the southeast is likely to dry out. So if you're in the southeast, you're desperate for rain, next week is it. It begins on Tuesday. All right, so for September as a whole, here's the latest guidance from the Bureau there. Queensland likely to see above average rain. Northern parts of New South Wales looking like less now as we move into the southeast. We know that we need moisture, we know that we need instability, we know we need those two to work together. We also know that we have to have those lows, troughs and cold fronts actually move into that zone to push that wet weather in there. If high pressure is in the way, it's going to block it, deflect it. Doesn't matter how much moisture is coming in, we won't see it if we don't get that low pressure moving through. This indicates that maybe we're in more of a blocking pattern as we move through. But let's have a look at our sea surface temperature anomaly. How much warmer or cooler the top of the ocean is. Why do we care? It is tropical moisture, particularly through here, that holds a heap of moisture. And anything that is above average, i.e. all around Australia, that provides extra moisture than we would normally see. There's a lot of blue in this box, still some yellow. There's a lot of blue in this box, still a little bit of yellow, but there's definitely an imbalance that is happening through there. And that is our Indian Ocean dipole. I'll go to this one next. It is now week 4 that we have had it. If we get to 8 weeks in total, that's when the Bureau declares, yes, we are in a negative Indian Ocean dipole. They like to do the headlines after the event. So we're already there and we're likely to remain in it. And then as we naturally do at the end of the year, come out of that one. So that means those juicy northwest cloud bands will continue. The only question is, where will that rain actually spread? Does it go into the southwest because that's the area that's getting the cold fronts? Does it go into the southeast from time to time if the high pressure gets out of the way? All right, let's have a look at the Pacific Ocean. Very neutral. We saw there was a fair bit of blue in that box. There's also a fair bit of warmth in there too. Some models like it dipping down as we go later into the year, but it's only these two here, and they're from the USA CFS one. The other ones have it on the negative side of neutral, but still firmly neutral, and these guys are firmly in that neutral zone. So that's the range of guidance that we've got in through there. Slight chance of a La Nina, but it's only a very slight chance as we go later in the year. Sam, this one, the southern annular mode, tells us if we're more likely to get troughs and lows or strong cold fronts. And the strong cold fronts are generally missing from this one here. As long as you've got this as a positive thing here, it means that those fronts, if you're in the southeast and you're near the coast, that's where you get your regular wet weather from. It means that those are less likely. It's more likely to be a big trough and low that affected New South Wales, or the feed of moisture and a cut-off low that moves across the southwest. Yes, we can get a cut-off low move across the southeast too, but it's only if that high pressure moves out of the way. Let's have a look at our MJO. Here we are. The light line in through here is where we've been. This is where we are heading now, and then we're heading away over there. When it goes near the green zone, that enhances that feed of tropical moisture. You can literally see this in action today as we've got all of that moisture that is coming in from the northwest, feeding on in through there. Okay, let's have a look at a bit of a whip around the country. We'll start in Brisbane. I'll be very quick on Brisbane. We've had the fog clear, we've had the wet weather clear. There's just the odd light shower this afternoon. That is it, and there is nothing in the outlook. So temperatures are back up. Later on next week, let's have a look at Wednesday. So the middle of Wednesday feels like 24. Lovely, doesn't that sound nice? Thursday feels like 21. Friday feels like 18. Saturday feels like 16. So there is some cold air that is moving across the southeast, and we're going to feel that. We're not going to see it in cloud. We're not going to see it in wet weather. We're going to feel it in the wind as it comes through. Still, our temperatures are fairly warm, but the wind is going to be the chilly part, and that begins later on next week. All right, let's have a look at Sydney. Here is the remains of this wet weather moving through. So it's during the day on Friday, and then it eases as we move into that later part. 80, particularly during the afternoon here, 60, 40 down to 20. So we're nearly done with that one as it comes in. Nothing overly heavy anymore, and then it finally eases up. On Saturday, there should be a mix of sun and cloud. That's just 1 to 2 models that like some light showers. It's just activity. It's on the coast. It's nothing significant. As we go to Sunday, lots of sunshine. Won't that be lovely? Monday, sunshine. Delicious. Lovely, lovely, lovely. You've certainly earned it. And into Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're not seeing the wet weather, but we're certainly feeling the wind. So that cold air moving across the southeast, clear skies, but a gusty westerly wind that is going to feel very chilly indeed, feeling like 10 degrees in the middle of the day next Friday. All right, so for Melbourne, we've got cloud cover, no more of these frosty nights and sunny days. That stretch has firmly come to an end. Grey skies today, but it's just patchy light rain moving through mainly later on. On Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, so some sunny breaks in through there. There are light showers passing through. They won't add up to very much. It's more of that patchy light rain. Sunday, sunshine returns, so a cold start, lovely in the afternoon. Monday is when the heat is back because we've got the northerly winds in through here. Heat, it is August, 20 degrees. It's warm for August. So, cloud builds later on, and then it all changes on Tuesday. Showers pushing through in the afternoon and evening. Wednesday, again, they'll increase in the afternoon and evening. Thursday, increasing in the afternoon and evening. And you're watching the temperatures go down and down and down as we move through each day. There should be some nice totals into the rain gauge, particularly if you're in the eastern suburbs. Into South Australia. Today, there is this light and patchy rain under our band of cloud. Into Saturday, again, not much into the rain gauge. Sunday's looking lovely. Cloud builds later. Temperatures jump up. Into Monday, it is warm. We're in a northerly. We start to see that cloud start to thicken. And then later on in the day is the chance of that wet weather appearing. But it's Tuesday onwards that we're likely to see it in Adelaide. 13 millimetres, 6 to 21 across the weather models there. 9 millimetres for Wednesday. Thursday, 14 millimetres, and into Friday, and that's when our cold air is there. Lots of wet weather streaming through. And for Perth, today we've got just this little bit of leftover showers that are coming in. There's nothing significant from that. On Saturday, it's looking pretty nice. It changes on Sunday. So here's our heavy wet weather, 14 to 32 millimetres, 5 to 23 millimetres. That's Sunday into Monday, so that's when the majority of that will be. But you saw that the high remains well off the coast, so there's still wet weather to follow on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It just won't add up to as much as what we see on Sunday and Monday. That's it from me for this week. Don't miss my update next Friday.